Video clip from Hawthorne Hill is to show you how to make the Cattleya Orchid. Here's the set that you will buy from us, and these are the parts of the set. This is the trumpet petal, and there's the side petal. Here is the little sepal, and there's the column, with the last bit being the former. So to start off, we're going to be making the little column petal. Do powder it first, and then get a little bit of paste and make a kind of similar sort of shape to what you want, so you can place it in like that, and then with one finger do a kind of smear fill. So you pull it down tight, leaving it clean all round. We now need to put a wire in the column petal. The way we do this is we get a cocktail stick and make a little hole at the pointed end of the column, and just go a little way in, only about 1/8 of an inch or so, and put it in at this particular angle. Then take the cocktail stick out, and we are going to get a piece of 33 gauge tissue wrapped wire, and we're going to make a little snub hook in this wire, which is done by taking the very end and bending it right back onto itself. On top of that, we also wish to dip it in a little bit of egg white or whatever you're using for sticking or sugar craft together, and just stick it in the egg white like that, and then we're going to place it in the hole that we've made. This makes it much easier to be accurate, so you just push it in about 1/8 of an inch and just squeeze it down a little bit like that, and there it is. Column petal out of the mould, you just damp your finger on a bit of wet cloth or sponge, and then we're going to stick a little piece of paste on sugar paste onto the hand like that. Then tease it with another slightly damp finger until you get a tack. You want a stiff, sort of tacky feel. Then you can hold the mould like this, get another little bit of tack, and then pick it out like that. Then what we're going to do is take it off that finger, and then I'm just tweezing it into shape a little bit, and at the back end, the sharp end, underneath, just bend it back slightly on both sides with that slightly tweezy movement of the fingers. That's it, that's what it should look like. The next petal is the trumpet petal or centre petal. So we roll out some paste for this. You want to try to make the paste nice and thin for this petal, and so off we go. Roll it out and keep the board slightly powdered, and try and get it quite thin. You'll notice that I'm lifting it each time, that's so it doesn't stick to the board. Then we take the little Cattleya, place it on the paste like that, press firmly, twist it slightly, then a little scrub action just like that, and when it turns over, there it is. We now have to take it out of the mould. The way to do that, of course, get a bit of paste, damp your finger, damp the hand, and stick a little bit of paste on your hand like that, and then the little tack that we need, a sticky tack, so that we can go along and pick it up, take it out of the mould like that. The next thing we have to do is to frill it. So you put it on the board, and with a little cocktail stick, just go round as I'm showing you there. Make sure that there's powder under the paste so it doesn't stick to the board, and work from the centre to the sides, just as I'm doing there. And it's quite easy to get a really nice frill effect, which you can now see. It's all frilled. We now have to form the petal in the right way. One of the big advantages of Hawthorne Hill products is you get a former like this, which converts flat petals into shaped petals, which go together later to form the orchid. Do look at the way how deep some of that is, and from both sides how well into the former it is. That's exactly the right way to do it. We now have to fix the column petal. Now to do that, first of all, egg white the back, just as I'm showing you, and then you can put it more easily into the trumpet petal. The thing is that you normally do this off the back of your work table by having to put it up on a box like this so you can see what's going on. You place the column petal above it like that, so you can pull it down. At the same time, just tighten the main petal against it. So there it is, it sticks well. Once it's stuck, you can actually model it a little bit like that, and then open the petals out slightly to make the correct shapes. And there it is. We'll now make the side petal. We're now going to cut it, vein it by pressing in, and now we've got to wire it. To wire it, I usually use a bit of the paste, as you can see, one of the little leg bits there that are remainders, and we get the wire, 33 gauge tissue wrapped wire, and dip it into egg white, then place it on this little piece. You sometimes have to touch it a little bit to pick it up and line it up where you want it to go and model it in by pressing it in. This is a very good way because it's trapped between two pieces of paste with a little bit of egg white in the middle and makes a very, very strong bond, which is the ideal way to do it. Next we have to take the petal out so that it's similar to the trumpet petal. Bit of paste on your hand, slightly sticky, get it tacky and a little bit more tacky than that, and then you can take it out where it comes. It now has to be frilled rather the same way as the trumpet petal was, so we frill it round like that, and then we will form it afterwards. Take a little bit of time to get a nice frill, and then pick it up and we'll place it on the former. It's placed just the same way as the previous petal, but you lay it on like that, push it down with a ball tool or something similar, and make sure it's the right sort of shape, because it is very important, because these shapes will eventually all go together to make the finished orchid. You need two of these, and that's the way to do it. Two side petals and one trumpet petal. We now have to make the three sepals, so we just powder the board like that, pick up the sepal cutter veiner, press it in, take it out like that, and then press it down firmly to pick up all the veining. As before, we'll chop a piece of the sugar paste off so that we can wire it, and pick up the wire in the egg white like that, then on the little patch and rotate it round so it's in the right place, and then squeeze it down. Model it in well like that, and we take it out using the usual technique of the slightly damp finger with the slightly stick paste. After a lot of practice, this can become quite easily, but even sometimes it does stick a little bit, so you just have to restore the tackiness again and get it off. So out it comes. In this particular case, this particular petal, we do what's called a wave frill or roll frill. It goes on there with a ball tool, and then rotating the ball tool as you move, slide it up the edges. You then finish up with a gentle wave. We then lay the sepal on a curved surface to dry out. When all the pieces have set really hard after 24 hours, then it's time to put it all together. So you first of all place one of the side petals on the side of the trumpet petal, the other one on the other side, and with these 3 petals you then twist the wire at the back to tighten it all up a little bit. So that's how it looks now. Now twist the wire. And don't try to put all the petals on at the same time. Just do the first 3, then later on we'll finish up by putting the sepals on. Just quite tight if you can. Make it quite neat, the back. There it is. Now we pick up the petals, or the sepals rather, one by one, and place them in position. They only have to be approximately right at this stage because it's easy to adjust them later. So we just place them on in the approximate positions and start to twist the wires together when they're reasonably correct. So now we're twisting the wires again together. And then you can look at the front if you want to and start adjusting the petals about. I'm just doing that now, looking at the whole flower, and there it is. We're now going to make a nectary, which we use out of yellow paste if possible. Pick it up with a cocktail stick. You mark it in the centre so it slightly divides it when you put it in, and then you, on the back of it, put a little bit of egg white so that we can attach it to the orchid. Then pick up the orchid and you insert it with the cocktail stick like this and place it in the right position just underneath the column petal at the back on the centre petal. Twist the cocktail stick to be able to take it out, leaving it behind. There it is.